it's a little bit risky. We have used continuous integration, so we've tested it as much as we could, but there's a chance that it might go wrong in live. So what we're going to do is we're going to try it with a small group of users. Or you could, you know, a big problem with virtually all the enterprise accounts we work with is production-like test environments. They don't have them, they can't afford them.
So you are going to give this risk by encourage the communication to the customer?
Yeah. Yes. So in the Agile Manifesto, you remember that we value collaboration over contract negotiation. Yeah.
If you are able not to get your customer on board, something called stealthing. You do whatever you want to do, what you have to do, without really depending on your customer. The customer at the end just needs your service.
Okay, but as you know that actually I don't know the different models for all the different methodologies for agile mindset, except Scrum and Kanban. But in Scrum, for example, you have the product owner. He is our bridge for communicating with our users or our customers.
Yeah.
How we can show that this product owner or that product owner, so which is give us the right feedback from the customer and explain the risk and how we are going to mitigate the risk to the customer in a proper way. How we can ensure this, because based on your proposal here, this is a very critical issue, because if the customer did not understand the risk in a proper way, or the product owner did not understand the risk in a proper way, or he had a problem in communicating the risk to the customer, most probably we are going to create a failure. But this failure will be a catastrophic failure, because most probably you are taking part from the auto testing, this part will have a big value. And this will be in the top of your backlog.
Yeah. So remember, little and often experimentation. So perhaps your first microservice experiment isn't the most valuable thing in that application. Perhaps you test it out with something lower value. This is one of the things we talk about with all DevOps adoption. It's like, where do you start? You start somewhere that's got enough impact and matter, but isn't high risk enough to put the whole initiative at risk if it doesn't work out.
Yes,
the product owner role though.
Yes, but if I can, we can postpone the discussion after the presentation.
Yes, right.
Okay, I feel that to take the time of the presentation. So, what's your opinion about this? Can we postpone this, or shall we continue the discussion?
We'll leave that because.
Okay. So, most probably in agile methodology, you take the most important parts to start with it in your development plan. So we are going to take from this big system a small part, but this small part is a very important part, and have a big impact, because the backlog is prioritized based on the top priorities from the customer. So you are going to make these parts small to control the risk, because if the part you are going to change is small, most probably the risk of making a mistake in this change will be small.
Yeah.
Is this true or not?
Yeah, you can absolutely do that. So I'll give you an example of where I've seen quite.
I'm trying to understand your idea.
Yes. We can't always give you a straight answer, right? There are conversations that we need to have. So if you need to balance risk and impact always. So it's another one of those trade-offs. So to give you an example from Hiscox, another insurance customer of ours based out of the UK and Europe, they have been on the DevOps journey for about 5 years. So one of our kind of examples in terms of fluency. And they did a lot of original DevOps work with an application in their data center called Da Vinci. It was called Da Vinci because Leonardo da Vinci said that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And what they were trying to do with that project was reduce 14 systems down to 2. So it's a system complexity thing. And they were very successful with it. And then came the time where they wanted to put Da Vinci into the cloud. So they saw intuitively, they understood that going into the cloud was the right thing. The financial case didn't stack up, but they wanted the scalability, the elasticity, the security and everything like that that Azure could offer them. So the first application that they put into the cloud was not Azure. Robert Hiscox, the founder of the company Hiscox, he loved artwork and had a huge art collection. So the first application that the Hiscox team put in Azure was actually an art catalogue. So they looked at it and they thought, we want to test out Azure. We really need to test it out with something before we put DaVinci in there, because that is our core business project. So they spent a lot of time putting that art catalogue in Azure, but they learned all about it as they did it. So you need to balance that risk and impact, right? So if you're looking at that, we need to go and test out a microservice, but you're thinking it'll just be catastrophic if we cause customer impact, and we haven't got the systems around continuous integration and safety failure responses to protect ourselves.
Do you think that this acceptance of the balance between the risk and the impact is related to the domain?
Sorry, I couldn't
Sorry,
hear
we
that.
can't hear you
Yeah.
because we have the heating here.
Yeah.
Okay, the balance between the risk and the impact of the risk
Yes.
is related to the domain. Because most probably if you're working in a financial domain, who will accept the risk
Yeah.
that he will may or may not,
Yeah.
depends.
Yeah.
Impact his balance, for example, in the bank.
Right, well what we've experienced with working with banks is that absolutely anything that's going to cause
Production failure.
Yeah,
Large scale production
large
failure.
scale production failure would not be something you would touch
No.
initially. That failure has to be, I mean these little boxes that Helen has drawn are very, very small. And it is a controlled environment that you create. So that there's another thing about risk, which is a psychological thing. And that is, if you have described to your customer the risk of continuing with the big box, and then you describe to them the risks
Yeah.
of highlighting
I
small
got it.
components,
So you are comparing between the
give them the choice.
Okay.
What type of choice they had? In
Choice.
this case, 50 years they didn't update the system.
Yes.
So the risk, it will be big.
Sure, but only not.
Yeah.
But it is. But the risk. Yes, the risk
The
is the
other
business.
risk, if
Yeah.
you will go out of the market.
Yes, exactly.
I also kind of have to take issue with this concept of asking people to sign off the risk. I do quite a lot of work in DevSecOps as well, and it's a classic pattern that we see. The security people, they live over there, we'll go to the security people and say, we've got this thing, and the security people will go, well, it's not right, and you'll go, but we don't want to spend all that money to change it. And they'll say, that's fine, just sign this, so that so no one comes back to me when we have a breach. And that's not collaborative. It's not in the DevOps principle. It's not doing the right thing for the organisation you work with. So in the same way, I would try and encourage
You
us
have to
all
believe. They have to believe in
we
the
have to be a
process.
team together. We're not signing off the risk. We're all cognizant of it, and we're all ready to, we're mitigating up front. We're like, okay, that could go wrong. In the event of it going wrong, what is our backup procedure? How do we fix it quickly?
Okay, I get you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have a question, 3 questions. The first one is talking about the risks and everything, like in terms of failure, what are the quickest remediations taken by the DevOps? And the second question is that during the phase of risk, there has always been mentioned back in the mind of the whole team was in the presentation of that, okay, this is gonna happen, what quick action you have to take if this thing's gonna happen. So there is a kind of repetitive failures happens in that area. So how do DevOps work on that area?
Yeah.
And the third question is that as we're speaking,
You said 2.
the third one is the exceptional one coming up from
Okay.
me. Talking about the Scrum and agility. Like, I mean, there has always been framework that there have been many companies taking multiple frameworks to collaborate, have multiple areas to focus instead of focusing one area. So like Carbon was then, there was Scrum, then the agility.
Yeah.
So how the DevOps works in that area as well?
Okay. Let me stop
Small
you
J's,
with the
I
questions and try and
I
answer
think
some of
small
them.
J's is the answer for 3 questions.
But what is, sorry?
Small J's.
Small could be,
J's.
yeah. I mean,
Yes, very good.
Yeah, little enough to.
Yes, more J.
Right, DevOps remediating problems.
Yeah.
First of all, a good application performance management system set up right will preempt failure. You will get an early warning system before it's even down.
Okay.
A good automated deployment solution will allow you to redeploy last known good state at a click of a button.
Okay.
Caveat with that, 50% of failures are caused by the last change. That's 50% that are not. So redeploying last known good state won't save you.
Okay.
What you need there goes back to your application performance management system. As well as preempting failure, they will help you do very fast root cause analysis. I mean, we've seen customers that have been having a problem with the system in the call centre at 12 p.m. Every Friday for weeks, and they've been trying to research what it is, and then they've switched on Dynatrace, and Dynatrace have gone, it's that database call. And it really is that simple. Can't fix it for you, but it will tell you what it is.
Even if you take this further to the left-hand side of the cycle, the continuous integration.
Yeah.
I have read very, very nice word, continuous integration, saying it is the last commit that creates the problem. So you give them much control, even on source code level.
So I think that's most of them on there. I mean, it is automation at that point, and you know that I keep on saying that good application performance management solution. That's the key to the kind of our super pattern, if you like, for a DevOps continuous release lifecycle. We call it the DevOps loop. So what we encourage people to be able to do is measure the value at the user story level all the way around the loop to what it's delivering in live. So that means you need full traceability through your tool chain, so you can see how long it's spent in each section. And then it requires you to be able to see what business impact it's had when it's gone live. So back to Hiscox, who I was just talking about with a really high level of fluency, they did a thing where they put an Amazon Echo in the Chief Marketing Officer's office so that the CMO could walk in and say, hey Alexa, what's the policy conversion rate on the website? And the AI within their APM solution would tell them, and also be able to link back to the JIRA record that had last made the change, had influenced it. So that this we sit at the bottom of all of our slides, optimising the flow from idea to value realisation, thinking about that loop. Your third question. We at Range 4 have been selling ourselves and marketing ourselves on DevOps for 5 or 6 years now. We have been in serious consideration, and we have been working with some of our closest clients to talk about whether we should do this or not, but we are thinking of not completely rebranding, but actually leading with what we call WOW, or ways of working, rather than DevOps, Agile, Lean, ITSM, and all these kind of very specific, if you like, words, because they are all about how we think and how we work. So this is why we don't really like that much to talk about Scrum or SAFe or ITIL. What we want to talk about is how you service your customer by delivering them value outcomes that are high quality, you do them as quickly as you can. Yeah. They're safe, they're reliable. We don't really care what the name of these things are. And you know, you walk into some customers, we've got another one in the UK, a company called William Hill, gaming company. One of the things we're doing for them is writing a DevOps playbook, but they've already got an Agile playbook. So what's the point of having an Agile playbook and a DevOps playbook? Why don't we just have a ways of working playbook?
It's like in the customer, like when the customer goes to grocery, the seller says we have this best product, we have this best product. The customer get confused. Dude, I needed something which is good for myself.
Yeah.
So how that works in that area?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
People decide what works for him. Actually, it was based on his environment, his project. So there
it's
is
very skepticism. There is a lot of skepticism because the customers has always been confused since the start and the end. Sometimes they forget in between the transition.
Well, this is it, and I think, you know, if you remember at the beginning I was talking about language. I think one of the linguistic problems we have is the names we give what we do.
Yeah.
Because it can sound a bit technical, a bit cliquey, a bit, you know, the latest thing, following on from a number of things. I mean, to be honest, I've been working with Henley Business School on transformation change since 1990. And every 3 or 4 years, somebody writes a book about transformational change and calls it something different. And if you think of lean, lean started in the 1950s, and it became Six Sigma,
Yeah.
and it became goodness knows what else. And actually, to neutralize, to take away some of these badges, some of these cult labels,
Yeah.
is probably easier for our customers. If we talk about ways of working, in 30 years' time, we could be having this conversation and we could still be talking about ways of working.
Yeah.
And that would be fine. In fact, we had this conversation at lunchtime. Should we call it new ways of working? No, because one day, new ways of working now will be old ways of working.
2.2, 3.2.
Exactly. So ways of working is neutral and practical and human.
I used to do a presentation,
You want to focus on the facts, not on the name of the solution.
focus on the outcomes.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yesterday, Agile was the
The
trend,
facts
today,
were-
the opposite is
The,
the trend.
the facts
More
and the
complicated.
outcomes, yeah,
Yeah.
both.
The facts or the facts. The facts.
Practices.
The practices, the practices.
Practicing.
Practices.
like
Oh,
this.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Practices and outcomes.
Usually saying that our industry is more fashionist than the fashion industry itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we don't have to go for Universitan,
No, that's
Gucci.
right. Okay.
Okay, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Shukran jazilan, thanks so much.
Thank you
Again,
very much.
Thanks so much.
Great.
One more.
We clap.
Yes.
Always when you I'm working in the hospital,
Oh.
so when we try to
Don't forget to push the question.
Yeah. So you work for a hospital?
Film,
Ah,
yes.
risk issues.